Yo, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode with Carmen's Crew podcast action going on here. I'm with my guys, Ed Kraft, Adam Jardy, myself, David Lighty, and the basketballer. What year was that, Sully? 10?
2009, 2010.
Oh, he doubled. My fault. Mr. Ohio High School
back-to-back
Basketball Player of the Year, Jardy Sullinger, man. Welcoming y'all back to another episode. And welcoming and thanking everybody over Amendment for making this possible and bringing us together here. So, how was you guys' holidays, man? What y'all have going on? I've been missing out over here in France, so please tell me all the activities.
Life is stressful back here, man. doing holidays back home is stressful, bro. Like,
I heard it was cold,
it's great
too.
Yeah, it's great. You know, we get to see the family, we get to travel and do all that. But when two kids, you're trying to see 4 different groups of people all in different cities, like, it's rough. There are times where this is ungrateful, but like, you miss being overseas, right? Like, it's a quick FaceTime and you're like, all right, see you fellas. And then you can go back to just kind of doing your thing. But it was great. I mean, we got a lot of fun. Owen's old enough that he understands presents now. So he tears them up and we had a good time.
You left out cookies?
We got lots of cookies. I mean, they're everywhere. So
yeah, all good over here. I'm with you, Kraft. Traveling all over Ohio, seeing all the family. Like, Santa visited like 3 different houses. We had a lot going on in the Jardy house, but yeah, Santa was good to the kids. And my Owen also had a great time. Got a bunch of Minecraft Legos, and it's been that's the big thing, man. Both my kids all about the Minecraft right now. So it was a good, productive Christmas for both of them.
I love it.
Nothing wrong with that one.
I had a game on Christmas. On Christmas. So.
That means y'all showcase. That means you put on the show.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. Had 37 points, 21 rebounds.
Something light.
7 assists.
Not too much.
Yeah, Santa granted me with some powers that day, so I'm not really stressed. But I got to see the kids open up presents. My wife waited until after my game to open up the presents, so I got to watch them on FaceTime, which is pretty cool. I didn't have to clean up nothing.
That's real.
I didn't have to go nowhere. So I mean, I'm just happy the kids enjoyed their Christmas. That's my biggest thing. Is just watching the kids, their joy. Yeah, my son loves trucks. My daughter loves dinosaurs. I don't know why. And then my youngest, she doesn't know Christmas just yet, but she just knows how to rip open the paper. So it was just fun watching from FaceTime.
That's fun enough, right?
Yeah, it was enjoyable.
For sure. Oh man, how long y'all gonna keep up the Santa Claus thing though? That's the question.
What are you talking about?
The kids.
Keep it up. What do you mean?
Huh?
Come on, dude.
Santa's real. What are you talking about?
Oh, my fault. Okay, we're gonna keep that for the next episode. We're not gonna talk about that too much right here. We'll keep that top
no
secret.
comment.
No comment at all.
Oh, shoot.
Oh man,
man.
I wish.
Dave, you have practice?
Yeah, practice. That's
Love
it.
that.
Literally, practice and Italian food. That's what I have.
You back with Coach Mata. Remember, Coach Mata gave us half a day, and then we had practice on Christmas Day.
Get back, baby.
Me in Dallas, hitting that highway.
Man. Well, since the last time we talked, we've had a couple games. One pretty big one that I feel like we're all still a little upset about. And then a bounce back game that we kind of righted the ship. So let's talk about that North Carolina game, a couple weeks ago. Man, I know it hurt me. So
how? That's all I can say is how. I mean,
free throws. That's the biggest key, and I think we also watched our freshmen grow up again. Like, I feel like we say that in every episode that we talk is how our freshman is growing. You saw Bryce down the stretch hit a lot of big shots. Bruce hit a lot of big shots, and then the simple fact that Bruce was playing with foul trouble in the first half and was able to get out of the first half and be successful in the second half was tremendous for us. And I just thought our aggressiveness, we kind of let down our guard. We struggle with their press a little bit, but you got to give credit to North Carolina, man. They fought all the way to the end, and I hate to say it like that, but they fought all the way to the end.
Really changed things, and being there in the Garden and watching that happen. Ohio State was inbounding the ball from the side where I was sitting, so I'm watching Carolina basically come like right at me, and you could just see it. I mean, there was like 3 turnovers in the span of like 2 minutes or something like that, and that just got Carolina right back in the game, and you know, someone who writes about this stuff but doesn't go through this stuff. Like, what is that like in a moment when you've been leading all game? They kept Carolina like at arm's length for most of the game, and then when a team makes a run late like that, what does it take to try to get the momentum back? You guys have been in those situations. Like, what did Ohio State need in those moments to have a different outcome?
A big fella down low to slow the game. I mean, throw it right down to Sully with, I should say, in other teams, you know, 4-out spread, ET up top. But literally, I mean, it's everybody has to come together and just stay calm. You got to stay the course. You know they're going to come back and fight, and especially in the Garden, like you say, to get a couple steals. That energy in there just electrifies everybody. And it was literally a North Carolina crowd out there. So they got going. They got going more and more, like you said. But we just got to stick together, and the leaders and the seniors that have to calm everybody down and stay the course. But I think that's something, like you said, is just going to haunt us.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they responded okay. You know, I was frustrated from a guard perspective, the turnovers we had in the press at just bad times, right? But then you had guys come down on offense and make big shots that, like, we still, with all that happening, we still should have won the game. You know, I feel like the end of game handling of that entire situation wasn't great. I would have done different things if I was a player / the coach in those scenarios. And then we still had a chance to win, and the guy makes a shot that he makes 1 out of 10 of, you know, to get their momentum going into overtime. But I really thought you saw kind of down the stretch, you saw North Carolina's experience, especially in their guards. They just took over, right? Like they were under control. They were attack mode. They were confident. I mean, like, if you look at their stats, I mean, Caleb Love was 8 for 20 for the game, 4 of 13 from 3. But the big ones that he hit were, you know, at the end of the game when they needed a bucket.
Daggers.
Exactly. So you saw where I hope our guys can get to, you know, as they get more experience. You saw North Carolina's guards do that, like, down the stretch. Like, they had the ball. They weren't going to throw it. They weren't going to pass it up. You know, they were going to either make the right shot, make the right play. And they did that. So our 16 turnovers are that. And like Sully said, we were 7 of 14 from the free throw line. Being killer.
Good.
And I thought
I was just going to say, I did not enjoy watching RJ Davis and Caleb Love play that game. I just thought when you got a big man who is just Ohio State had no answer down low for Baycott, and he was just dominating. And I'm just thinking to myself, how are you not getting him the ball? How in a game where Baycott goes for 28 on 11 of 19, like, in what world is it okay for Caleb Love to go 4 of 13 from 3? Like, get the ball inside and win the game. And I just thought, like, I was angry at Carolina watching that game because I just did not like. I don't like their style. I don't like how this team plays, and I don't know. I just that rubbed me the wrong way.
The crazy part that you say that, Adam, that's exactly how they got to the national championship is by Caleb Love, and the beautiful part, it's like it's a perfect mess of chaos, if that makes any sense, because Caleb Love every shot he takes is for the dagger. It doesn't matter where it's at. He doesn't care what he's doing. It was for the dagger. But I thought this was the first game that we saw Zed get matched with his power. Usually Zed's the most powerful player on the court. I thought Baycock showed his strength and his length against Zed. And I also thought Zed had at-home jitters. Let's throw that out there, too. I mean, there was, usually his jump hook is picture perfect, should be right by the dictionary. He usually makes those 9 out of 10 times. And he missed a couple that it just looked like he was rushed. Looked like he was anxious. And honestly, it looked like Baycock kind of threw him off his game just by matching his power. So I thought Zed was that was the game that we needed Zed the most, and I think Zed, I won't say he let us down, but Zed got matched with his own physicality, which threw his game off.
Aaron, you said you might do things differently in the last couple seconds there. I did. I'm not sure I've had anything since Oral Roberts blow up my Twitter and my email since, then those last 2 seconds and the decision not to guard the inbounder. And Chris Holtmann, that was the first question I asked him after the game. He said that's what they do. They've studied it. They believe in playing 5-on-4 defense and not guarding the inbounder. They didn't think that Pete Nance was going to be the guy shooting the ball. But I want to hear your thoughts.
So I have a couple comments and a question for you guys, because I don't think I understand the rule. One, I put a guy on the ball early, full court. Second, I know this is crazy, but I would have considered putting Felix on the ball at once I got it at half court, because there's only 2 seconds. You don't have to worry about him like a ricochet kind of play. You put him on the ball, and I love Bryce. Bryce is an offensive genius, but defensively, I take him out. At the end of the game, I take Bryce out. Not that he did anything wrong, but I put Justice on the big guy, got an older guy. Maybe he does something a little different. But I think Felix adjusts that pass because it had to be a perfect pass.
I think didn't Felix foul out in overtime? I thought
fouled
Felix
out in overtime.
fouled out at that
fouled
moment.
out in overtime.
Okay.
I've thought about this a lot, Jared. My question for you guys is, so they throw the ball to half court. They call timeout right at the half court line. Why do they take the ball out at the? Why do they take the ball out at the
the explanation I got is that it's just like at the discretion of the officials, and it's just kind of about wherever. Like it's just like okay, you're across half court, so it's just kind of wherever. And so I don't think, and I could be wrong on this, but I don't think there's a hard and fast rule. I haven't looked into it. That's a great point, but I don't think there's a hard and fast rule that. I think it's once you get across half court, that's you call timeout. That's where it goes.
Okay. That's payback from Rutgers. Because we stole one, they stole one.
That's fair. That's an extra 10 feet.
I know, but it's fair, I guess.
It just made no sense when I saw it live. I instantly rewound it. I rewound it once they went to overtime and said, why in the world are they taking the ball out 8 feet from where they called timeout? But okay.
Yeah, that's a big difference in the pass. But I'm with you on that. Hey, when we played, Coach Mata, always he talked about this, and Coach Gross, either Dallas, long and athletic, or Othello Hunter.
He's in diamond.
Always on the ball. He always talking about it. Special teams. It's special teams. For sure, that deflection or just the height and size changes everything a little bit in the last seconds of what's going on. But like you say, hey, it's kind of payback.
I was surprised. So I'm sitting there
so
getting ready to go home from New York the next day. And like I said, my Twitter's been blowing up and I'm getting emails from readers, like the volume of which I had not seen in a good while. So I reached out to like a dozen college D1 coaches that I know and just said, hey, I'm just curious. I don't study this stuff like you guys do. I know college basketball coaches, you don't just decide the stuff on the fly. You guys put research into it. You put in way more time than we do. So what is your philosophy? I was just trying to see, is there a standard across the game? Does everybody, put a guy on or not put a guy on? And I was actually really surprised. There's not really a consistent theme across, at least the coaches that I heard from. It was some say, yeah, you 100% got to put a guy in the inbounder. And some say, no, you play 5-on-4 and that enables you to take a couple of things away. And I kind of came away from it I guess reasonable minds can disagree because it doesn't, I think you might have an opinion. I might have an opinion, but there doesn't seem to be a consensus among the coaches that I talk to, at least.
You would think after March of 2010, after ET hit that shot at half court, you would think everybody would.
I was about to say,
you would think everybody would put somebody on the ball, and I mean that was a shocker when I was watching that too. Kraft was like, why is nobody on the ball? Because you never know, you might take them out their sweet spot, and Nance hit a big time shot, and that kind of took the life out of us a little bit. And I'd forgotten
too, the season opener last year against Akron, Ohio State won on a Zed Key lay-in with half a second left. And it was the exact same situation. And Akron, John Gross put a man on the ball. And that left a mismatch down low where Zed got the ball and was able to score essentially uncontested. So, like, I think we've seen just in the last year involving Ohio State cases where it doesn't work if you put a guy on. It doesn't work if you don't put a guy on. Like, I don't just wild.
All right. So
yeah, it's tough.
So we go to MSG. We lose a heartbreaker. You know, the one we all had that game circled before the year started. We lose a heartbreaker, but then we have to come back 4 days later and play Maine. Easy game. What do you guys think? How do we handle the bounce back moving forward?
I think we see Bryce.
I think it's one of those games.
I think we see Bryce doing his thing. I think that's been that MSG game is kind of showing Bryce is starting to become that guy for us. I mean, he had I think 19-7-7. 19-7-7. You know, everybody talks about his offensive game, but he was playmaking that game, and I think he's starting to see the attention that he rightfully deserves. I mean, in pure 40, he's averaging 29 points in pure 40. So you see that, and you see what he's doing. That's only a good sign for us because that's going to open up more shots for Justice. That's going to open more shots for Sean, and you know, with Bruce shooting 50% from the 3. It's even better as we move forward in the Big Ten play.
I thought, given that it was, you guys can speak to what it's like to play some of those games right around Christmas against non-marquee opponents in front of 10,000 people at the Shot, and it's not exactly an intimidating atmosphere. So, like, you know, you can paint the upset script pretty easily if you're looking at that from the outside. But I thought the fact that, like, they never really took their foot off the gas in this one. I mean, Ohio State, they led this game for all but 52 seconds. I mean, and one of the things that Holtman said afterward was that he really put a lot on, like, Zed and Justice and said, like, look, guys, like, you're the vets. You need to make sure these young guys understand that you could lose this game. And there had been upsets the day before and the day before that. So I think that helped. But I just thought that, like, that was a good test maybe of this team's maturity. That, you know, that I don't know that there was ever a scenario where I thought they would lose this game, but this had the potential to be like a 10-point win, and it's a 5-point game with 10 minutes to go. And but I wrote my game story at halftime and then just plugged in some numbers. Like, my story was done like 2 minutes into the game. So it was a piece of cake.
That's a great night for you.
Easy night.
That's an easy night for you. For me, man, I just think it was great scheduling. You know, coming off the season schedule that they had starting like that, and you know, that game being so emotional can go either way for us, and we end up losing. This is kind of a good filler bounce back game. So you test the guys to see if they're ready, or you see the guys get into a flow and get into a rhythm. You know, using them going on forward. And getting ready for the Big Ten action.
Sully, how do you feel seeing a team put up 64 points in the paint like Ohio State did against Maine?
Oh, I love it. I love it because, I mean, with our 3-point shooters, I mean, that's just going to help us out in the long run. I mean, I remember my freshman year, I think Lighty shot like 40-something% in Big Ten play. Will shot 50%. You know, even though they label Kraft as a non-shooter, he shot 43%, I think, in Big Ten play. And then you had, John that just you can't leave
average.
Yeah, if you want to say. But
he made a couple shots.
But in the paint, when you score in the paint, it really opens up what we have. And I think, this team is going to be wing oriented with Zed, getting his touches, but to win in Big Ten play, you need wings at the same time, but you need a big. And so we have a great balance of that. And like I said, and before, Zed was kind of outpowered by Baycock in that North Carolina game, but that was a good bounce back game. And then you also saw Felix that did a great job and he changes the pace of the game. So we have this power big in Zed, and then we have this deer that runs and blocks shots and alter shots nonstop in Felix. So like our change of pace and the way we can play, we got two different styles of play, and that's perfect for Big Ten basketball.
Yeah.
It's interesting you bring up. I think you're totally right. Like we are a guard. We're a guard team. I think we shoot the ball. Everyone on the team is gonna shoot it, and I think we can fall in love with the jump shot a little bit, pretty easily on this team. And I'm not saying we take bad shots, but I even saw it yesterday. You know, I took Owen to practice just to get him out of the house because it's freezing, and like, let's get in. Like, Amber, you need a break. Let me take him in. They were doing 5-on-5, like full court, but you know how one team on the baseline, one team at the free throw line, and coach yells out a name and you touch the baseline, so it's like advantage. So, but they were calling 2 names, so it's 5-on-3, and we probably watched for close to 10 minutes. Every single shot was a 3, and I remember thinking that we make some, right? Like, we have good shooters. But I remember thinking, there are 3 people playing defense right now. Why are we not shooting layups? So I think that's something to look out for moving forward. Is we can settle at times, especially if Zed's out. We tend to settle for 3. So I'm interested to see if we continue. Like, I told Jake, I pulled Jake aside to be like, hey, Jake, let's shoot layups, man. He was like, I totally agree. So we'll see. I don't know. That's just something I saw yesterday. That is interesting.
One of the stories that I'm going to write probably Friday is this is another elite offensive efficiency team. Like, they're, as of now, they're third in the nation in offensive efficiency, which like blows my mind. I mean, you know, with so many new faces and just a complete lack of continuity from last year, like, to be third is pretty stunning. And so I asked Holtman about that. We had interviews on Monday and talked to Sean McNeil about that too. And they talked about like being unselfish and that like they've really emphasized some things in the culture over the last couple of years that make it so, you know, the faces change, but you can still have a high level of success. But the big question is like, you're going to see a much higher level of competition very soon. So what does that look like in a couple of weeks? Are we going to see some regression? And like you said, Aaron, like, you know, that settling for jumpers maybe a little bit frequently. Like, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but like, Bryce is one of the nation's best at like shooting like mid-range jumpers. And I know that like, obviously like Will was the best I can remember at Ohio State in a long time at doing that. That's a tough skill. And for a freshman to be knocking down those shots consistently in Big Ten play, that's going to be tough. So I'm interested to see, does the offense sustain a high level of efficiency? And can they get to the rim more when the defense picks up?
So it's interesting you bring up Bryce. You know, I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but I know we were texting on the side, figuring out how do we get Bryce in the game? You know, how do we get Bryce to start? And I will say, pat myself on the shoulder. Even though it was, you know, Ice happened to be gone, Ice is the one that's out of the starting lineup for the last 2 games, and Bryce is put in. Do you guys think does that continue? Is our starting 5 set now with Bryce in instead of Ice, or you know, does he make more changes?
No, I think it has to continue. I mean, I think it only gets better. It's like Sully was saying, he wasn't just a scorer, he was a playmaker as well. And once you get into Big Ten play and how tough it's going to be, you're going to need as many people as possible to make plays for us, because they're going to shut down 1 or 2 things for sure. So I think that, and then, you know, slowly getting Ice back into the flow, because I think he's still going to be a big piece for this team. It's something that we're going to see more of.
I think Lighty hit it right on the head. It's just we got to slowly add Ice back into the group. But at the same time, it's just our offensive power with that starting 5 is kind of what we need. You can't have a slow start in the Big Ten. You know, it's okay to give up a couple buckets, but having a slow start on the road, it's hard to get that thing back together. As you know, when we went to Purdue, and E'Twaun Moore went for whatever he went for against us in the first half. Yeah, and it was hard for us to get him under control. So we just got to continue to keep doing what we're doing. And on top of that, I think the change of pace between, you know, Bruce and Ice, with Ice coming off the bench, because right now Bruce is our leading guy in minutes as a freshman. And he's handling a lot of responsibility. So I think when we get Ice back, him coming off the bench, and he'll be able to be that ball mover for somebody like Tanner, who we're going to need. He'll be able to, you know, play off of Felix what we need going forward into the Big Ten
That's going to be interesting,
play.
I think, because bringing Bryce off the bench and having him sort of with that, I don't know if you want to call it the second unit, but like if you're thinking about a lineup with Ice coming off the bench and he's on the court with like Roddy and Tanner and Felix and another person, I'm not sure, but like that's not a lot of Gene. Yeah, good point. Like that's not a lot of offense right now.
Let's go. Yeah.
And I do wonder like
score.
I don't think you can take Bryce out of the starting lineup. I think that sets a freshman back mentally. I think that would anger the fan base at a very high level. I don't think you can make that move, but I do wonder bringing Ice off the bench with that group. He's not a scorer. I mean, he can score. You can get to the rim and things like that, but like Bryce could carry that unit offensively.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's something that we see play out over a couple of games where if they have like a couple of lulls there, like midway through a half, that they have to find some way to address that.
Yeah, I don't envy like Gene yesterday was the first time I've seen him in a uniform, and he was out there doing his thing, playing aggressive, playing hard. He's a guy that has experience too. So I have no idea how as a coach you figure out what lineups. They literally had a board with five different sets of five on there, like trying to figure out what pieces we want to put out there. So he has a lot of options, but we're kind of running out of time, right? Like we have Alabama A&M tomorrow, and then Big Ten hits the ground running this weekend. Yeah, like what do you guys think of these games coming up? Like I said, Alabama A&M tomorrow, and then we got Northwestern coming. Are we nervous about these games?
Another, right after the holiday game, and something to, keep the spirits high, finishing out the year with a win, and kind of getting mentally prepared for the Big Ten action. Because like you said, it's about to hit the ground running, and definitely can't look forward to, just skipping over, A&M. we got to take care of business first.
It's going to be
that's the biggest
weird.
thing.
It's a 3:00 start, which they said is like a TV thing.
Yeah.
But like,
I saw that. Yeah.
I can't remember a midweek
on a Thursday,
mid-afternoon game. Like that's just, I don't know what that arena is going to be like. And again, it's like, this is where you need Justice and you need Zed, you need Ice, assuming he's back. You need those guys to rise to that challenge and, make sure that they don't take. I mean, that would be a crippling loss. They can't afford that.
I think this.
Go ahead, Sully.
Go ahead, Crafty.
No, I was gonna say it's an early game, so like my antennas go up. Like, early game, I can take Owen, right? So I text Eaglehoff like early this week. I already made plans. Like, hey, let's bring my nephew. It's his birthday coming up. Like, let's go to the game. Hey, Eaglehoff, like, don't worry about it. We can get 5 tickets easy. It's Alabama A&M. Apparently, it's a very difficult ticket to get because it is at 3:00 and everyone's on break. So apparently a lot of people are asking for tickets. So hopefully, it's a good crowd. It's early enough. So it might be a good atmosphere. If not, you guys can look for me. I'll be there.
Well, even if it's not a good atmosphere, you still got to take the game seriously.
It's true.
At the end of the day. And on top of that, I think from the coach staff standpoint, you got to work on your X's and O's here and tighten up the reins on the team and see who is your, at the end of the day in Big Ten play, you need 9, 10 sometimes, maybe 11 if you get in foul trouble. But
we did it with 6 play.
I mean that's Coach Meyer. He's still doing it with 6.
That's different. That's different.
Just Coach
that's
Meyer.
different.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you need to know who your lineup guys are, and you need to know who you can count on day in and day out. And in Big Ten play, Alabama A&M is leading up into our Big Ten play, and we need to learn our offense and execute to a T. We need to run our game plans to a T because we always say Big Ten is one of the hardest scouting conferences in the world, to be honest with you, because they know everything in and out. They know who the ball's going to. They know every play call. And you got 12 games under your belt. So now, film, they're looking at film every day, preparing to play against you. So we got to tighten up the reins on what we do on both sides.
Some
of
games
basketball.
like around New Year's, right? Like, did you play like at Indiana on New Year's Eve and this
don't remind me.
This game, like playing at Northwestern on New Year's Day, It's an evening game. I think it's like a 7:00 start, but like Northwestern's got the number 7 defense in the country. And I mean, I don't know where Northwestern ultimately finishes this season, but like that's not nothing to start Big Ten play at Northwestern in that arena on a holiday. Like that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
That too.
Day after.
For sure. And Northwestern's been balling. They already got
Michigan
State,
Mm-hmm.
right? They already got Michigan State at Michigan State. So like this is not going to be a walkover, and they're going to be excited, getting into the real Big Ten play as well. And like you said, it's going to be the guys who've been there before, the seniors and the elder statesmen getting ready and focusing on the details. I mean, on the road with a team like that, it can go one or two ways, I believe. Get on them early and keep them down, or let them stay in the game and have confidence, and you don't know what's going to happen. So,
Kraft, you bring
I'm
up
excited about all of that, though.
Sorry.
But Northwestern, sorry, Adam, but Northwestern is one of the hardest places to win at. To be honest with you, we always struggling at Northwestern. And I don't know what it is about Northwestern, but they play so hard and they never give up, and it's always a battle to the end. So you can't look over anybody in the Big Ten, because as soon as you do that, that's where you slip away from trying to win a Big Ten regular season title. You need every win that you can get, and us being on the road, we've been battle tested. Went to Duke. We played at MSG. It was basically a home game for UNC. We played at Maui. I think this team is mentally prepared to go into that crowd and going on the road and be able to win. I think our scheduling really prepared us for the Big Ten, especially leading up to all those road games that we
does a big
have
football game ever affect anything on the basketball side? Like I don't know. Like when the football team plays a monumental game. And then you guys play the next day. If it doesn't go well, do you ever feel that? Do you feel like the collective, like Ohio State fandom, like turning to you? Like, I don't know. I'm always interested in that dynamic.
I mean, if they lose, I feel like, all right, we got to get this back, right? Like, we got to get Ohio State back. Everyone talking good about us and that kind of stuff. So I think it can go well that way. It can be helpful. I don't know the guys on the team, if they follow football. Like I would want to watch the entire football game, right? Like it's an 8:00 start. So having to make that decision it's not going to be over till after midnight. I know it's a late game the next day, but I don't know. I think there's definitely a pride aspect of it, especially if you lose. It's like, you don't want to add to the misery of the university that's happening that weekend. So let's give them something to look forward to and talk about, because they want to talk about football anyway. So let's talk about
I always remember, Thad had a story, the 06-07 season, when the football team lost to Florida in the national championship. Okay.
I was about
and then you guys
what I
lost
was
to
about to say,
Wisconsin.
yeah. For sure. Yes, and we were supposed to be number one in the nation too, type of thing. So yeah, and they just lost.
I remember Thad saying, like, he came into interviews like the next day or whatever, and he said it was like a funeral. He said, like, he could feel just like the toxic vibes of everybody furious that they had lost to Florida and they had lost to Wisconsin, and like, it didn't matter that I think you guys were like 13-3 or something like that at that point, and obviously having a fantastic season, but like I still think about that. Thad, I was at that press conference, and Thad was just like, man, it just felt like someone had died in there.
But tell them, hey, it rose a monster came out of earth after that. We didn't lose again to the finals, so it was a crazy run we had. That was a cheat code team.
Hold on, excuse me. Did you just say a monster came out of the earth after that? Is that the phrase that was used?
Exactly.
Okay, all right, I like that.
What you want me to say?
Hey, you do you, Dave.
They'll awaken the beast.
There we go. All right, I love that.
And Greg woke up.
Greg is nice, man. That's a whole different thing.
Welcome, yeah. That's a whole nother pod episode. So we talk about Greg.
So we're at the end. We're at the end here. Let's say we're heading into Big Ten play. You're the coach. In the locker room, what are your final words to the team kind of heading into what is honestly like the first thing you talk about when you talk about a season is a Big Ten regular season championship, and we're about to start that part of the season. So what are the things you guys think are important that the team should be hearing from the coaches?
There's no gimme games. There's no gimme games. There's no more. We're not playing against Maine anymore. We're playing against high-level basketball players, high-level coaching, high-level scouting reports. It's time to bring your best every night. If you don't have it, we need every single person on that bench to be there for the team. It might not be Bryce's night. It might be Justice's night. It might not be Zed's night. It might be Sean's night. But we have to understand, and we got to ride that high hand. And there's going to be difficult decisions that coaches got to make in this situation because we have so many guys that can play. Like we have a lot of guys that can play, and then you got Gene coming back. That adds even more fire to our team. So there's going to be a lot of difficult decisions, and you got to be there for the team. It's all about having one heartbeat, having one sound, one band. In the words of Nick Cannon. So we got to be together through thick and thin, no matter who's playing, who's not, who's scoring, who's not. We just got to be together.
That's a tough one for me to answer. The only speeches I ever got were like, Jardy, you're at the end of the bench. Like, just deal with it. So, like, I don't have a lot I can add to that. I mean, like you guys said, I mean, it's the Big Ten. It's going to be one of the toughest conferences, and you're starting at Northwestern. I mean, I think, don't overlook them. I mean, that's probably the extent of it, and probably like, I don't know, just embrace it. Like, this is a team that I do think there's a potential for a really enjoyable, exciting season if they can step into the moment and realize like what they can do and who they can be. So I think, it's like that, you don't know what you don't know, like that type of thing. Like just embrace the moment and, try to get lost in it. But again, I'm just kind of loosely paraphrasing that Eminem song. So I don't.
Adam, you got it, man. I mean, that's me. All that right there is me. For myself, I love going on the road in the Big Ten, and coming out with a win and walking out and everybody's silent or they're leaving early and we got the W. So that's what it was all about for me. I tried to lead by example and I tried to make sure everybody followed as well. But this is the real season. That's what I'm telling my team. All right, we had the good North Carolina games. We had the Maui out on the water having fun, but now it's you separate the boys from the men. This is Big Ten basketball. Like Sully said earlier, they're going to know everything you're going to do before the game starts. But the players are going to make plays. They're going to be out there. It's going to be a team effort for us, literally. Like Sully said, whoever name is called that day, they got to be ready.
I'm ready to practice now.
Every game is going to be a big game for us because this Big Ten is, besides Purdue, I think is, kind of wide open. Anybody can, come in and take the top reins at the number 2 spot. So hopefully, these guys have a chip on their shoulders when they go out there. I think that's the best way to be, no matter who you're playing against. So if you think you're going to get a win, that's when it mess around and bites you. So just go in with a chip on your shoulder, embrace the moment and live in it, literally week by week. That's all you can do when it's Big Ten season.
I'm ready to go too, man.
Nicki Minaj
nice.
Moment of life. That Nicki Minaj moment of life.
Y'all are crazy.
It's game day.
Well, all right, fellas. Well, finish out the year strong. Sully, keep getting your rebounds out there. I want a couple more assists. I think you're shooting a lot. Let's get some assists out there in the league. Dave, I still don't know what's going on with you over there in France, bro.
You gotta play one more game. Well, we got Berlin. So I'm going to just keep it easy and finish out this year, have fun. But what we got on this Buckeye game, though? Are y'all nervous?
Listen,
all I'm going to
say is as long as we score, because I don't think Georgia's offense is that good. As long as we score on the defense, I think we're going to be okay. We just have to score. We just have to score enough points.
I like to say, I'm not optimistic, but I'm hopeful. I feel like, I think it's possible. I think we can do this. But, if it was last year with the defense that Georgia had, I think, I feel a lot worse. But this year, you don't know. Like, I I think they were upset when they saw they were playing us versus they were going to play potentially TCU or play USC.
Oh, for sure.
So there's that aspect too. I'm excited for a game. I'm going to be up for it. It's going to be great. I don't have any school for another week and a half, so I get a little reprieve.
That's what you enjoy.
I just think it's going to be Ohio State, Michigan in the national championship. I think the fates have aligned. I think that's where we're headed. Yeah, I don't know.
It was written.
It's kind of like Duke and Carolina finally playing in the Final Four last year
goodness.
in K's last game. Like it feels very written in the stars type of thing. So that's what I think. I don't know why. I don't know how. I've not watched a second of Georgia football, and I've watched a third of Ohio State's games. So they're all blowouts. So
for future reference, Adam, it's the school up north. We don't say that other word.
Touche.
He got it. Hey, I'm with y'all. I'm with Adam on that too. I think it's O State versus them for sure. I don't know why. I'm nervous about the defense, but long as we give CJ time, then it's a wrap. And I think that's what's gonna happen.
Love it. All right, well, y'all keep doing your thing. Enjoy the rest of the year. Make sure you guys check out the podcast, on all the platforms that podcasts can be found. Find it on social media as well. And until next time, thanks for listening.